Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. And we have Clare Crowley with one of her most telling interviews, probably the biggest, messiest conversation about an ex we're ever going to get in Bachelor Nation. And we have that today for you on Thirsty Thursday. Are you thirsty out there? You should be. It's been a wild week, an insatiable week, some might say. It started on Sunday with Jason and Caitlin mentioning that they have ended their engagement. Abigail, which will tie into this story in one way or another, announced her engagement with Noah. Plus, we had so many other messy situations happen. But now Clare says, you know what? Hold my Tecate. I'm going to give you the most messiest, dramatic podcast of them all. So we're going to share that for you guys right now. Do me a solid. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. Patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes bonus content. We'll be discussing this more on the behind-the-scenes content today at 10 a.m. for as little as $5 a month. You can sign up for 1 month. You can let go next month. I'm telling you right now, school's back in session, and it is worth it. Every afternoon, Bachelor Rush Hour, the hit podcast. So it's no new story here. If there's anything I've done well on my channel, it's covered Clare Crowley. From Dale's toes to Clare's sort of post-relationship analysis. He didn't keep his promise. He was more invested in business than relationships. Caught cheating or on a break. Dale and Clare break up for good. Clare throws shade at ex-Dale Moss. One after another, your boy has got it all covered. And a lot of people don't remember this. There was a tea that came in a year or two ago. A Bachelor favorite hooked up with a Bachelor Nation winner who may or may not have been on a break. Were they on a break or not? Clare posted this photo of her and her mother and somehow tagged Abigail. Was Abigail the one who Dale kissed when he was on a break or not on a break with Clare? We'll never know. Or will we? So I'm going to get to the podcast clip from today or from yesterday that we're going to air for you guys. But first, let's just go down memory lane. And here's another moment where Clare shouted out her ex while in the sauna. Clare says, for the record, you guys can stop sending me all the acting reel clips. I had a front row seat to that since day one. Winky face. Which, by the way, listen, Clare. And I love Clare. Nobody loves Clare more than I do. I love drama. I love mess. Love it. Who's texting while they're in the sauna? I hate people that text in the sauna. Either way, there it is. We love Clare, though. So she called Dale out there. She had a front row seat to Dale's shenanigans, as it were. All right, we're going to share the clip right after we just promote very quickly today's community teacher wish list. That's right. All month we are shouting out different teachers in our community. Today we're shouting out Stacy from Chicago, Carrie from Leesburg, Florida, and Sophie from Largo, Florida. They are different teachers that need our help. They're all in our community. We have every teacher on this list. Let's just go and click on the middle one here and see what's going on. They've got these wish lists that all you have to do is purchase one $7 item, one $3 item, a $20, whatever you want. Mini dry erasers for the kids. Just little things that help them class up and jazz up the classroom so that the kids can have a better learning environment. Thank you in advance. Teachers are letting me know that people are starting to purchase from their wish list. Just purchase sooner than later because we want to make sure that they get their classrooms full of all the supplies they need before the school year starts. Okay, let's get into it. Here's what Clare Crowley had to say about Dale Moss. It's a doozy.
I thought that you just you knew who you were and what you deserved, but you think that you got even more to an elevated point of that after Dale?
I definitely had it before that relationship and before going on the show.
She doesn't say Dale's name before that relationship. She's like, I'm not saying his name again.
It dipped low because I was in a relationship that was not healthy for me. That was, I mean, I can go on and on and on about this, but it crushed me.
You should.
Right? But that relationship brought out the worst in me. It crushed me. It crushed my spirit. It crushed in so many ways who I was as a woman. It brought me down to a level that I didn't want to be at, that I questioned myself, that I thought I was asking for too much. I thought I was not a good communicator. All these things that I was like, I thought I knew who I was. I thought I was strong. And I found myself crying day after day after day, feeling so low, begging, reverting to old habits of begging somebody for their love, for the simplest things. And I was lost after that. But you're right. Before the show, I had it together. I was strong, Claire. That broke me. As with, I think, a lot of people who've gone through tumultuous, awful relationships I feel like can relate to that. But I was never going to let a man, one thing that's like, I pride myself on is resiliency. And I would never in a million years let any man bring me that low again or keep me that low.
Now, so it sounds to me like when they were together, things were fine. And when they were apart, they had a terrible communication style. It sounds like maybe Dale or Claire or a combination of the two had an issue with when it was time to work, when it was time to play, and maybe Claire needed more attention than Dale was willing to give. Clearly they had a spark. She left the show early for him. Clearly they had something. They broke up and got back together. But obviously in hindsight, the bitterness has sort of reached the surface.
So I just focused on rebuilding myself and brought myself back to who I was, and then came back even stronger on the tail end.
It's interesting because, you know, like you said, you came into the Bachelorette confident.
All right, no one cares what you have to say. Let's just fast forward to what Claire has to say here. One more clip here.
It paralyzed me temporarily, especially because the very last day that I saw him, that I talked to him,
Dale,
was the day I was told I was going to have to go say goodbye to my mother because she was really, really sick right then. And he basically said, that's not my problem. And
I hate it when anyone paraphrases and says basically said. So I'm going to give Dale the credit that he is being summarized by his ex-fiance right now, and it's probably not as cutting. That's not me saying Claire doesn't feel the way she feels, but when Claire says he basically said X, Y, and Z, he might have had a 3-hour conversation about why he has to go back to work. I got a contract. I have to make it back. I wish you the best, all these things. Well, he basically said he didn't care about her. So I don't know. Again, I'm not siding with Dale. I'm just saying the truth is between the two. Maybe it's leaning on Claire's side, but unless we have direct quotes, we don't know exactly what was said.
Those, like, how did you not let those
moment? And it got me down for a moment, but I think looking at it and literally sitting there and going, I'm like, why am I begging this man to have human decency? Why am I begging this man to care? Like, this is not what a real man does. I don't care. Not even a real man, a real human. Like,
so she's questioning his manhood. And look, this just goes to show a lot of times relationships can't really flourish until you really have your own stuff together, you know? And so maybe Dale's better off in a future relationship because he's learned how to prioritize work and when he needs to be a husband, you know, those types of things. People have that selfish era in their life, which is probably why it's not great to have a serious relationship with someone who hasn't figured out their core path, their meaning, these types of things. That's fair. I mean, to be quite honest, Claire had already been on The Bachelor. I think she did Bachelor in Paradise and Winter Games. She's already done those episodes. So she knows a little bit more about herself. And now she's got this doe-eyed young Dale Moss who's just excited. He knows a friend who's a paparazzi guy. He's getting some attention. That's not the time for a relationship. He needs to go wear off that post-show energy, find out who he is, and then he'll be a better version of himself for a future relationship. I don't personally think Dale is a horrible guy. I'm sure, you know, I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, which always gets me in trouble. How could you say that about so-and-so? I don't know, because I just have this core belief that everybody's trying the best with the information that they have. It's almost easier. My life is very blissful. I'm 38. I don't have many gray hairs, and that's in part because good genes, but also because I don't stress over thinking people have it out to get me. I think everybody's trying the best with the information they have. In this case, Dale was probably trying his best to navigate it all, but probably leaned on the selfish side. I think we can all agree with that.
Somebody who's genuine and sincere, like somebody who, dare I say, loves you. That's not love. Somebody who loves you, even as a friend, doesn't do that type of stuff to you.
And don't get it twisted. I fully believe Claire feels all these feelings, and I feel Claire is in the right to feel those feelings. It sounds like Dale was a very shitty boyfriend or fiance to Claire. You shouldn't have to beg people to want to be with you and all that jazz. Maybe he needs somebody who wasn't in that stage of life that Claire was in, where she needed him emotionally with her mother dying and all of the other issues going on. Dale couldn't deliver.
And leave you in a moment where you're so desperate and so low and struggling as it is. So I looked at that and I just thought, I don't care if it's a friend. I don't care. I don't ever want to allow anybody in my life who would leave me in a moment like that.
Good. So
I just started, I was in bed for a while, but truthfully, it was, this is so weird to say this, but like, I had to convince myself to walk around the block for 10 minutes. Like, I was very low. I was very depressed.
That's a problem with depression, right? You have to literally convince yourself to eat food. You have to have a friend or somebody drag you up and get you out of the house and go get some sunlight and go get some fresh air. Your body's in this like survival mode where it just wants to crawl up in bed. But you really, if anyone's out there and depressed, just try to go on a 10-minute walk. Just try to get outside and get the mail. Like, go to Starbucks and get a coffee. Bring it over to me. Venti triple espresso shaken oat milk, no sweetener. Just get
felt the lowest you could feel with everything combined. But like I told you before, I think I just thought, I don't ever want to let any man bring me that low, because I worked so hard to become such a strong woman. And I don't know, I just did a lot of therapy and I did a lot of inside work on why I allowed that. Why I let it get to the point of begging a man to have human decency.
Wow. And of course, we'll come follow this after their break. She also mentioned some other things Dale wasn't able to do, like see her when she got her breast implants taken out.
Do you think that it was him specifically that you were losing, that you were sad about, or was it the dream and the hope that you had found the person that you were supposed to be with and then you had to start from scratch?
That's exactly what it is. I know so many women like this. It's like you put so much faith, so much energy, so much time in investing your sincere feelings into loving somebody, hoping that they're going to, reciprocate that. And I don't know, it's painful because you really don't want to start over. And like I said, at this age, it's like, you've done that. I've done that over and over and over and over again. And it's tough. It was tougher each time coming back from relationships. And that was just kind of like, he knew my weak points. He knew where I was struggling. I had just been dealing with, at the very tail end of that too, getting my breast implants out and going through surgery and going through so many health things where I felt super, super sick. So I don't know. The more time, I guess it worked in my benefit, because I even after we like talked, I kept reaching out and trying to talk to him, trying to have conversations with him. And he just wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't answer. It was just done. And it worked out in my favor, because all that time that he was ignoring me, all that time that he just cut it off, I was allowed that time to process everything that he did, everything circumstance. Even when I had my breast implants out, he showed up, took a selfie for for social media, and left the next day while I was recovering from surgery.
Okay, so was there more than him showing up, taking a photo, and leaving the next day? He didn't leave that hour. Did he? I mean, like, I don't know, folks. I don't know. Again, I'm not doubting Claire's story whatsoever, so don't get it twisted. Claire sounds to have recovered from this toxic relationship. But like I said, Dale needs to go figure out who he is. It wasn't that relationship. It feels like he was in it and she was in it because they were trying to recreate whatever spark they initially felt. As Claire mentioned, the older people get, the more they want that relationship to work because they don't want to have to start all over. We get that, folks. Let me know what you think about this one. What a hot one out there. You can go check out the full podcast, the Ben and Ashley I Almost Famous podcast, for their real journalistic integrity they've got going over there. And I'll be back with more content. I'll be on Patreon at 10 a.m., patreon.com/Dave Neal. We'll be back right after this.